Oh, hi there, just enjoying my coffee. Well, now I have a question for you. Have you ever heard about Belarus? Oh, you have? Well, let me refresh your knowledge anyway. So, the Republic of Belarus is a unitary presidential republic situated between Russia and Poland.
A cute, cozy little state.
But despite being small
and cozy,
it is also a member of such influential world organizations as UNO and CIS. It is also a member of WTO and many other unions. The proud citizens of Belarus are such outstanding people as, first of all, our president Alexander Lukashenko, as well as the Nobel Prize winner Joris Alfyorov and the astronauts Pyotr Klimuk and Vladimir Kovalyov. Well, and naturally, I should mention the world-famous artist Mark Chagall and Alexander Kishenko, and our noble sportsman as Alexander Medvedev, well, what a man, and our great tennis player Victoria Azarenka. Well, however, so as to get to know our wonderful country better, or just refresh your vast knowledge of the history of Belarus, to know famous and outstanding people only is obviously not enough. And this is why we'll go a little bit deeper and further into the history of the Republic of Belarus, which was formed in 1991 after the USSR had fallen. And for the sake of storytelling, we will start from the Soviet times and go backwards. Well, for some of you who might not know what the USSR is, here's the picture. It was a super state with Marxist ideology that occupied considerable chunks of Asia and Europe. And Joseph Stalin was considered to be its great leader. But we aren't going to go into that. What is essential to know that the Soviets used the Belarusian national movement so as to overthrow Russian imperial government, ensuring the leaders of this movement the Belarusian identity would be preserved and protected. Well, yes, with the Soviets coming, science was finally introduced to our land, and a network of universities was established, because before that we had only one or two of those. Industrialization and collectivization were as well part of the Soviet heritage. But unfortunately, there was a price to pay. And as soon as the Soviets got sure footing as the grand commanders of the United Army, they immediately started following a completely different policy from the originally agreed upon. You see, the whole idea of the USSR was to create a single Soviet people, and implementing a new, united identity meant getting rid of the old ones. To be honest, such a consequence was quite expectable, sad but true. To crown it all, there was another tragic moment in the human history which no one should ever forget, the Second World War. And Belarus, being the forefront of the country, suffered most of the initial damage. And the territory of our land was occupied completely, though it did not mean surrender. This is why Belarus is known for its effective partisan movement and incredible bravery of its people, and we shall never forget their sacrifice. So right, the Soviets, following the common policy, tried to diminish our national identity. However, they were not the first ones, for their predecessor in this noble endeavor was the Russian Empire, ruling from 1791 to 1917. As soon as Russians got our precious land by 1791, they immediately started engrafting that idea of a united people. And the first thing to do was to put the Belarusian national language out of use deliberately. In addition to that, our national culture was quite far from flourishing at that period. It was not a very peaceful time either, for there was the Napoleon invasion and the First World War, which took place on our territory. Actually, there is a very interesting point about Napoleon. Belarusians greeted this ruthless killer with bread and salt, which was a sign of hospitality. And therefore the question arises, why would they do that? The answer is that Napoleon promised to Belarusian people to restore the Great Duchy of Lithuania. In its turn, it was a very powerful Eastern European monarchic state stretching from the Black Sea to the Baltic. And our land, Belarus, was lying just in the middle of it. So the period of GDL, and that is from 1230 to 1794, is widely considered to be really the golden period for Belarusian culture and Belarusian nationality. And moreover, our Belarusian language began to be very widely used, with Simon Budny and Francisco Rina being really notable publishers. The unique architectural style of Vilnius Baroque appeared, and one of the first university among the Slavs was opened on our land. And there is one more minor point to mention. The GDL was the first state to ever have a constitution. The GDL used to be a part of an even larger state, a mega-state called the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And this beast existed from 1569 to 1794. And actually this union was beneficial both for the crown, that is of Poland, and the duchy. The only downside being that the Polish gentry occupied 235 out of 310 seats in the Senate, which is not really fair. Also, during the GDL and PLC periods, a great number of wars and armed conflicts took place on our much suffering land, many of which were with Russia.
Talk about the United Peoples.
All megastates eventually ceased to exist, and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was no exception. But such influential and powerful countries can be destroyed only from within, and so it happened there. Political instability and the inability of the ruling classes to come to an agreement led to the division of the Commonwealth between Russia, Austria and Prussia. And Russians took over, incorporating the Belarusian part, and the rest is history. But the Great Duchy of Lithuania was not the first government formation on our territory, for as early as the 9th century, this privilege was bestowed upon the Principality of Poland. The goal of its rulers was to form the first proto-Belarusian state, and the oldest of our cities were built actually in that period, and our people were baptized into Orthodoxy in the 10th century. Okay, that's pretty much it. And after this tiring hopping from epoch to epoch, and moreover starting with the end and ending with the beginning, you must have learned that our small state of Belarus can really boast very rich and eventful history. So I hope that we have aroused or refreshed your interest in Belarusian culture and history. So isn't it time to come to Belarus and explore it yourself? Be sure we'll meet you with bread and salt.